Thanks, guys. Well, welcome back. 500 episode. Who would have thought, man? Back in May of 2020, this was a kind of a pandemic project when I started pulling out records and just talking about them to give people an idea of what other music was out there so they could broaden their listening because everything's available on the streaming networks nowadays. Who would have thought we'd be here 500 episodes later? And I got a real special one for you today. Now, I know a few, I'm looking at the stats, and I know a few of you, you watch a few minutes and say, okay, I got the idea, and leave. Hang around for this one. You'll want to stay to the very end. Trust me. We're looking at something completely different today, like no other episode we've ever touched. This one is one of the rarest CDs I think I've ever come across. I think there's copies available if you happen to go to the site, meaning the physical location of this place. But other than that, I don't think you can find the music anywhere. Today we're looking at something called Kingston Penitentiary on the Air. Yes, it's a band. Can you imagine? Kingston Penitentiary formed a band. We'll talk about that in just a second. Just a little background. Kingston Penitentiary, maximum security prison, located in Kingston, Ontario. At the time, it was located in the province of Upper Canada because it was started building in 1833, well before Canada became, a confederation, a country. And it ran until 2013. And they shut it down, turned it into a museum. One of the oldest prisons in continual use in the world. Now, not only as a prison, it was used in a lot of other different areas. Appeared on TV, appeared in the movies. Just to give you some examples, Superman, the original movie, when Superman drops Lex Luthor into the prison at the end, Kingston Penitentiary. Blues Brothers 2000 made an appearance. Of course, Dan Aykroyd, one of Kingston's favorite sons. Don't know how much he had to do with that, but yeah, he's in Kingston a lot. Anyways, they used it in Blues Brothers. The King of Kingstown, Jeremy Renner, he was just there doing filming as well. Reacher, the TV series. A lot of things on there that it shows up in. Now, what we're going to look at today, firstly, it's in the west end of Kingston, right across from a shopping mall and between where my aunt and uncle used to live and the Kingston Drive-In, or one of the Kingston Drive-Ins. So we were by there all the time. It was really became part of a built-up area by the time the 1970s rolled along. But in the 1950s, they had a radio show. I'm just going to read to you what it says here, and a little bit of the history inside that pamphlet that came. It said, beginning in 1950, inmate orchestras were formed at 4 institutions as part of a widespread initiative to introduce recreational programs throughout the Canadian Penitentiary Service. By 1952, a small ensemble at Kingston Penitentiary had demonstrated sufficient musical talent and professionalism through their performances for the fellow inmates that arrangements were made in Kingston radio station CKWS to broadcast these performances. They did a series of live broadcasts out to the community. They were recorded from the chapel at the prison. They ran, I think it ran, let me see where it had the day it ended. 1955 was the end of the summer. In the summer they'd run them. They had half-hour episodes every Saturday, and somebody had uncovered, after the penitentiary closed down, they were going through their archives, uncovered a couple of tapes from one of these shows. This CD includes 2 episodes from that show of Kingston Penitentiary on the Air. There was big band music. There's country music. Sound like square dancing when I was listening to one of the songs. There was sketch comedy. I mean, everything was in there, and these guys were doing this every week. Now, just to go over a little bit of what's on here. Firstly, the band leader for some of these gigs was a guy named Edward Teddy Fryer. Now, Teddy was from Montreal, and a little background on him. World War II, he ends up over in England. His claim to fame was he had a little he was married at the time, but had a little dalliance with a girl in England who ended up pregnant and had a baby. And Teddy kind of hung around, missed his boat back, listed as AWOL, got dishonorably discharged. So he came back to Canada. He toured Canada and the U.S. as a piano player, playing in the bars and clubs around the area, until he ran afoul of the law. Let me see what he was charged with here. Break and enter, auto theft, escape custody. He ended up doing 3.5 years at Kingston Penitentiary. But Teddy became the piano player for the band that played on these shows. He was piano player, arranger, and band leader. So let's just take a look at some of the tunes they had on here. I'll just read you, just give you an idea what they're performing. We've got Cherokee, great jazz tune there by Teddy and the Solitaires. That's funny there. The Desperado Breakdown by the Hayshakers. Jimmy, they didn't list last names on any of these people, did Many Tears Ago. There was a spoof advertisement for the Keen and Peachy hacksaw blades, just to show the kind of humor the guys had. We got a medley by the Solitaires and Teddy again, doing Who's Sorry Now. There'll be some changes made and 1 o'clock jump. We got another medley here by the Hayshakers doing Sailor's Hornpipe and Favorite in C. Paired by Bob and Jerry did a song called Jealousy, and Bobby and Ted did a song called Because. There's episode 1. Episode 2, we've got the Solitaires again doing A Little Spanish Town. Bobby doing I'm Yours. We've got the Hayshakers doing The Flop-Eared Mule. The Hayshakers are back again doing Too Old. Teddy on his own doing a song called Guilty. Not to be confused with Randy Newman's Guilty. Right? Okay, All of Me. We've got, let me see, Here in My Heart by Bucky. We got a Steel Guitar Rag by the Hayshakers. Just a Little Lovin' by the Hayshakers again. Medley Give Me My Regards to Broad Bay and Yankee Doodle Dandy with a fellow named Ray doing vocals. Dark Eyes with the Solitaires again. Kiss of Fire by Bob and Jerry, and Old Man River. Bobby's back. It was a real variety show. And like I say, every Saturday night people would crowd around their radios to listen to this. And it was kind of a unique program coming out of the penitentiary where these musicians got together and performed. Now, just a little note from them here. It says, despite the show's popularity, however, certain unavoidable obstacles had to be overcome. Specifically, the high turnover in musical talent. Yeah, some of these guys got out. There goes the band, as performers completed their prison sentences and were discharged. It became increasingly difficult to maintain the consistency of performance required for a successful radio program. So by the summer of 1955, it had concluded. Now, a very unique album. Again, I'll show you the band there, and this will be significant in a minute. A pretty good-sized group they've got. I believe the CDs were available at the museum. The museum's open now and can be toured by anybody that's in the Kingston area. It's certainly a landmark in the city. A little bit of a story, though, about Teddy still. We already talked about Teddy a minute ago. And I'm sure some of you are wondering, whatever happened to that girl and baby in England? Well, I'll tell you the truth, I don't have a lot of information on the girl. Not really sure what her situation was. But the son, and this is the son that Teddy never met, never had anything to do with, walked away from. The son, he did all right for himself. His name is Eric Clapton. There's our Kingston connection. Eric Clapton. That's his dad sitting at the piano. Who'd have thought? Okay, that's it. Episode 500. Thanks for joining me for all these episodes. For the last 4 years, it's been great. Hopefully we can continue on with this. I often get a lot of donations of records to take a look at. I'm finding stuff all the time on the streaming networks of old reissues that people I've listened to for a long time, but albums I was never aware of, so I'm willing to share those with you as well. If you like the show, you like the idea, give it a like. Think about subscribing. Share this with your friends. I mean, this one just blew my mind. I mean, I started out with a kind of a novelty album that was given to me, a little research in it, and look where it took us. That's it for today, Friday. No, we're Monday today, isn't it? First of the week. Goodness gracious. Time's flying by on me. 500 episodes, getting old, getting forgetful, but that, hey, I won't forget to be back on Wednesday, so take care, stay safe. We'll see you on Wednesday.